Why did you lie to the American people, and why should we trust what you have to say now?
Such a terrible question, and the phraseology, I didn't lie. What I said is we have to be calm, we can't be panicked. And your question, the way you phrase that is such a disgrace. It's a disgrace to ABC television network, it's a disgrace to your employer, and that's the answer. Are you ready? Because I love. Of course I didn't. Of course I didn't. No.
Deadlier than the flu, and then you went out and told the American public that this was just like the flu.
Let me tell you something. We've had flu years.
You told everybody else something else.
No.
That was ABC's Jon Karl asking Donald Trump, why did you lie to the American people about the severity of COVID? Why'd you do it? And Trump really had no answer. All he could do was basically act like the very question was disgusting and inappropriate. He just shook his head and said, oh, that's a disgraceful question, blah, 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 blah. But the fact of the matter is, it's a perfectly reasonable question, because what we saw yesterday in the Bob Woodward tapes was that, at least in private, in these candid interviews where the American people, Donald Trump thought they would never see it or wouldn't see it for a long time, he was willing to say, look, this is worse than we think it's going to be. It might be airborne. It could affect young people and old people. It's not just going to be the old and sick that get affected. It's going to be worse than the flu is, even in a particularly bad year for the flu. Trump said all of this. And he also said in that interview that his goal was to play it down, was to basically downplay this because he worried about people overreacting. So you had Trump in private say, this is worse than the flu, it's dangerous potentially to everybody, or at least most people, and it's more dangerous than what we normally see. And in public, he said basically just the opposite. It's really just a severe form of the flu. Don't worry about it. It's really only the elderly and the otherwise sick. Don't worry about it. We have it under control. Don't worry about it. All of that was a lie. And so Jon Karl was 100% right to ask that question. And it really shows that Donald Trump is disgusted, not by his own actions, not by any actual real media mistreatment, but by the simple suggestion that the media would ask him a question that makes him look bad, when the question by design and merits making him look bad. Because he did lie to the American people. And later on in the interview, he tries to do a couple things. I'm going to play you this clip as well. He tries to, one, basically say, like he did yesterday briefly and like he did in the clip, that he doesn't want people to panic. So he doesn't want people running around screaming death, death, death. But also that the real person at fault here is Bob Woodward, because Bob Woodward had these tapes and never did anything with them back in February and March and April. I'll play that for you.
The fact is, there has to be a calmness. You don't want me jumping up and down, screaming, there's going to be great death, and really causing some very, very serious problems for the country. If Bob Woodward thought what I said was bad, then he should have immediately, right after I said it, gone out to the authorities so they can prepare and let him know. But he didn't think it was bad, and he said he didn't think it was bad. He actually said he didn't think it was bad. The only one that said it was bad or thinks it was bad were the fake news media, because they take it and they try and put it a certain way. If Bob Woodward thought it was bad, then he should have immediately gone out publicly, not wait 4 months. He's had that statement for 4 months, maybe 5 months. He's had it for a long time. It was a series of taped interviews, mostly by telephone. Quick ones, not long ones, quick ones. And I did it out of curiosity, because I do have respect, and I want to see, I wonder whether or not somebody like that can write good. I don't think he can, but let's see what happens. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
So here's the thing. You might well think Bob Woodward did something wrong in not going to the people earlier. You might think that. I actually don't think that point is unreasonable. I think Bob Woodward maybe should have done that. But it's not Bob Woodward's fault Donald Trump lied to the American people. As influential as Bob Woodward is, he's just one journalist at the Washington Post. Important, influential, but not a world leader, not a national leader, not even a municipal or a state leader. He's just a guy in the grand scheme of things. Donald Trump for better or worse, is president. And the buck stops with him, because you can damn well believe that if the United States was, actually a world leader in tackling this, and they did a good job, and everything went off without a hitch, and very few Americans lost their lives, Donald Trump would be, whether he deserved it or not, claiming absolute credit for the success. 100%. Without a doubt in anyone's mind. Even Trump supporters know that's the case. He'd be screaming it from the rooftops. And so Donald Trump sort of wants to have his cake and eat it too. When it goes well, when anything goes well, it's him. It's 100% him, whether he deserves it or not. And here, he's going to blame one journalist who may or may not have, should have shared the tapes. I think he probably should have. But, he's going to blame him rather than Donald Trump getting away with the lie. Basically, what he's saying is, I was lying, sure, but, it's really the fault of others for not tattling on me. It's really their fault. Well, no, ultimately, it's your fault for lying. Sure, Bob Woodward might have accelerated the process, but likely what was going to happen is you were still going to do nothing about it and put people in the same predicament. And it's also very rich for Donald Trump to go on and on and on about trying to reduce panic when he has been scaremongering about Joe Biden, saying Joe Biden's a radical socialist, saying that Joe Biden's going to destroy the suburbs, he's going to destroy the American dream, and on and on and on. And none of that is true. None of that is true. I wish Joe Biden was a radical socialist, but he's not. Joe Biden is a center-right neoliberal. But Donald Trump wants to encourage panic. So this is a man that didn't do any of this for the American people. He didn't lie to help the American people. He didn't try to quell panic for the American people. He did it all because he was hoping to get away with it, because he knew that any reasonable response was going to require a major economic shutdown, and that was going to hurt his chances of re-election, because the only thing Donald Trump really had going for him was the relatively hot economy. And he didn't have that anymore with COVID. So here's where we're at. The president lied to the people, and what disgusts him more than anything is that journalists are confronting him with that reality.